Hi, everybody. Welcome to either the Worldview or the Data Show. What I'll do is I'm going to take and combine them this week. And the reason is because there's a situation happening right now where the world is is interesting from the standpoint of data. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands, how to go about getting this data, what kind of data we're talking about, what are the things that we have, because what's happening is that they're getting data, and then they are comparing that data with countries in the world. So I just want to make sure that we understand that, and that we don't have this situation where we all of a sudden have a situation where we say, well, I don't understand where that goes, or I don't understand where that is. And I think what happens is that whenever situations happen where data is put out by the media, or data is put out by any type of media, then it talks about a comparison, and we have to be really, really careful about that comparison. So what I did was I saw something the other day where it talked about a comparison. So NHS is the National Health System in the UK. And what they're doing is they're trying to compare this with other healthcare systems in other countries, hence worldview. This we're going to talk about in a data sense, hence the data show. So I want to make sure, the worldview and data show are basically going to be the same this week. We're going to talk about the worldview, and then we're going to talk about the area of data within that worldview. So the first thing I want to do is make sure to point out that, hey, there is a world out there, and Google Earth does a great job of doing this. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the UK. This is the UK. This is the United Kingdom right here. And we'll just put ourselves back in here. I'm going to make sure. There we go. I want to make sure put north up and bring in the UK. So this is the United Kingdom in here, and this is what they're talking about. So now, how does the National Health System, NHS, National Health System has been around since the 1950s there in the UK. And what it does is the National Health System helps take care of people. It's like the Medicare system here, but it's much more extensive. I think that's what, whenever Obama was president, I think this Affordable Care Act and everything else, National Health System, was what they wanted to get into play. So let's talk about that. So this is what the summary is. They talk about these areas, the research, what we did. Healthcare system is different by doing three things. First, reviewed the research literature, assessed previous attempts to rank and compare healthcare systems. Okay, so what they did was they did what they call a meta study. The meta study takes a study using information from other studies. Now, meta studies are good. Don't get me wrong; they're good in certain situations. But a lot of times, the way I analogize them is to talk about Kool-Aid, right? The old Kool-Aid. The old Kool-Aid was, you put powder, you put sugar, you put water, you get cherry Kool-Aid or orange Kool-Aid, whatever it is. But the more water that you add, the more that Kool-Aid tastes, looks fine, but starts to taste like red water or orange water, or whatever it is. And that's what happens whenever you start to do derivatives. As you do derivations of data, and you continue to derive the data from other data, you dilute it. The derivation of data is also dilution of data. So that's what happens here. So you have to be really careful about that. So the UK is basically what they're saying is, the summary is that, look, the UK has below average health spending per person compared to peer countries. All right, so there's the health spending. Health spending as a share of GDP just below average in 2019, rose into 2020 COVID, and then tried to catch up. So here is the data, and I love this data, the way that they have this. So the UK has fewer doctors and nurses per head than most of its peers. So here's the number of practicing doctors per 1,000, and here's the practicing nurses per 1,000. So here's the United States. We have about 12 nurses per 1,000, but look at the number of doctors we have. Canada has more doctors than we do. Here's the United States, 2.6, 12. Here's Canada, 2.7. United Kingdom has 3. Look at Spain, 4.6, but they have half the amount of nurses per 1,000. Portugal, a little bit more, but not much. Greece has, over 6 doctors per 1,000, but their nurses are very low. In the meantime, look at Finland. Finland has 3.5 doctors, 13.6 nurses. So you can see the different areas per 1,000. So what's this called? This is called density analysis. We've talked about this before. We've talked about density analysis. Density analysis, which is the density of people and the population. So this kind of equalizes the population aspect. In other words, the more people you have, the more doctors you should have. The more people you have, the more doctors you should have, right? Because it rises with the number of people. But that's not the case here. I mean, we have 349 million. We are the third most populous country in the world. Third. Look at the number of doctors we have. We're all the way down here. Of these countries that are talked about in all these areas, we're here. We're the lowest, United States. So this is what this is. So let's see. So this is called the King's Fund, and this is what we have here. So what do we do? How do we make this work, right? So it's if we take the report itself and we take a look at all these different areas, we can hey, this is how they did it. Healthcare systems. Now, what did I tell you about definition, right? What did I tell you about definition? How important is definition? Definition is everything. If you do not have definition, if you cannot come up with a definition, then you're not going to be able to do a data analysis. So what did they do? What is a healthcare system? Good. They figured out what a healthcare system is. So this is what they did. They took these different resources and they figured out what a healthcare system was. But it's funny, it says, there's no straightforward answers to these definitional questions. Our approach in this report is to align the boundaries of the healthcare system as closely as possible with people and institutions responsible for improving healthcare outcomes. So that's what we have. So, I mean, different kinds of healthcare systems, this is, so basically 4 idealized types. And this is what we have: Beveridge, Bismarck, Private, and Samashko. So that's what we have here. Centralized models, state budgets, Bismarck. So they actually group them into 4 different areas, and 4 different countries. So that's what happens there. So it's this type of report that really makes a lot of sense, and they actually do a good job on this. I mean, I shouldn't bust them on this. They really do a good job on the data aspect, and they try to get it from a worldview perspective. But what's interesting is they talk about a little bit about Asia in here. Japan, Asia, so that's good. Australia, Asia. Well, actually, it's Australia is its own kind of area. Netherlands, Sweden, New Zealand, good, right next there. A lot of European stuff, a lot of European. But that's the area that UK is nearest to. So I think that's what we have. So I mean, they do go through some of these areas. More than 70% of adults in the UK say they are in good health. This is based on self-reporting. Self-reporting can be an issue. Self-reporting can really be an issue. So you have to be careful about that. But that's what we talk about. And they talk about income aspects. So I mean, adults rating their health as good or very good by income quarter. Japan is very low. I mean, in the lowest income, it hit 30%. I mean, that's kind of sad when you get down to it. Look at the United States. United States, they're saying 95% of highest income say they're in good health. Here we have about almost 88% in the total say they're in good health. So I think that's interesting. Interesting statistic. Higher prevalence of anxiety or symptoms of anxiety. I mean, here's the United States, 8.2 national estimates of anxiety. They're 21. I mean, 21%. 21% of the UK people have anxiety. That's pretty sad. 30.8, peri-COVID, during COVID. Pre-COVID, all of a sudden in COVID, boom, it popped from 8.2 to 30.8% for the United States, 49.6 from 21 in the UK. I mean, so, like I said, good study, somewhat self-reporting, but this is what we have. Look at the life expectancy in years. United States in years. We are the lowest life expectancy of any of these in years. Not only by 2 years, but still, we're about 81 and a half. There's life expectancy here all the way to Japan. They're up in 88 life expectancy. 88. I mean, this is female. Male, it's 81. We're down here. United States is down here, folks. Down here at 74 in 2020. 74. Here we were at 80. We're 74 for male. Look at the male up here in Japan. So, I mean, can you see how this data can bring out some very interesting aspects about this whole thing? But anyways, these are really good graphics. I like the graphics. I like everything about this report. I do like it. I mean, it's got some very, very interesting aspects on this whole thing. Health spending per capita. In other words, what is it per person, right? So you have this high spending as a share of GDP. Look at the United States here. Look where the United States is. So I'm looking here, looking here, looking here. Look, we're all the way over here. Health spending. We're all the way over here, folks. We are over here. Look at the life expectancy. Let's go back. Look at the life expectancy. Here's life expectancy in 2020. Look at the amount we're spending. Look at the amount we are spending. I mean, we're spending 11,000. Wow. In percentage, right? Share of GDP, about 16 some percent. Look what France is spending. France is spending like what, 11? 11 as a share of GDP? I mean, crazy. How spending per capita, current prices. We're all the way up here. All the way up here. Here's Europe, a little bit of Asia, bang, and here. So I mean, it's a lot of good stuff here. Health spending in UK is financed through government schemes. So let's see what United States is. So United States government schemes, that much. Compulsory health insurance. Compulsory health insurance. Look at that. Voluntary health insurance. Not, there's no voluntary health insurance, I guess, in the United States. Out of pocket. Very little out of pocket. Other up in here. Look at this thing. Sweden, big time. Denmark, big time government schemes. Spain, big time government schemes. The UK, United Kingdom, there it is right there. Look at that. So, I mean, we're talking about, a worldview. You got to get a worldview on this. But at the same time, this is all about data. So that's why it's really important to go over that. UK is below average investment in healthcare infrastructure. Let's see so annual capital spending on healthcare as a share of GDP. Where's the United States? Below Austria, right? Better than Sweden, slightly. Look at 2020. All of a sudden, Australia had nothing. Denmark spent a little bit more. Austria, much more, 0.8. So, I mean, so you have all of a sudden United Kingdom spending a little bit more, but again, below average. 0.5 would be average. So I mean, so that's what all this has. Staffing. We already went over the nurses and the doctors, right? So that's what we have here. I mean, United States is here. Practicing nurses. This is 2019, right? So I mean, pre-COVID. Share of doctors who are foreign trained. Look at this. United States, 25. Percentage, 25%. 42% are foreign trained in New Zealand. United Kingdom, 15.4. Foreign trained or nearest year. This is foreign trained 2019. Again, 2019 pre-COVID. So this report right here really has a lot of things. I'm going to put the report here as a banner. And what I want you to do is just, if you want to take a look at it, you can take a look at it. And that will give you an idea of what's going on. So this is data, folks. Is data. Now, a lot of people might say, well, Chris, that's fine, but you don't have corroborating data. Well, let's go to let's go to the CIA, right? And go to CIA World Factbook, right? So we're going to go to the CIA World Factbook. Now, what did we say? We were going to do countries. We're going to do explore our country. We're going to go to the United States here. And at the United States, what they have is they have introduction, background, geography, people and society. So we're going to do people and society. We're going to have this nationality, ethnic groups, and look at the age structure here for the United States. 15 to 64, 63.72% of people are between 15 to 64 years. That's very important fact. Median age, population growth, birth rate, death rate, population distribution, urbanization. I want to see the infant mortality rate, 5.12 deaths per thousand. Okay, that's what we're going to just remember that, 5.12, right? Drinking water source, physician density, 2.61 physicians. That matches. That matches what was in that the report I just showed you, that area, right? Because we just went through that. So we were going to go up here to staffing, and we're going to take a look at this. United States practicing doctors is about 2.6, and we have 2.6. So they're getting stuff off. The King's, whatever it's called, is getting data probably from the World Factbook, because it says it right there what the physician density is, right? So 5.12. Just let's go to the UK. Remember, it was 5.12 times of the mortality rate. What we're going to do is we're going to go to people in society. We're going to go to mortality rate. We're going to find out what the mortality rate is. Religion, age structure. Look at the age structure here. 1564, about the same as the United States. So it's 5.12. 5.12 here. So maternal infant mortality rate, 3.79. What I say in the United States was 5.12. We have a higher infant mortality rate in the United States than they do in the UK. Let's go to someplace like Somalia, right? Somalia. You go to Somalia and take a look. We'll take a look at the infant mortality rate in Somalia, just a way of comparing this. I mean, again, this is all data stuff, folks. It's all data. So infant mortality rate. Look at the structure here. 55.7. Wow. Median age, birth rate, death rate, population distribution, infant mortality rate, 85.06 deaths. Ours is 5.12. 85 deaths per 1,000 life births, infant mortality rate. So that's what we call, that's what we call a developing country, a country that is a poor country, poverty-stricken type country. So that's where you have those situations happen. So that's what we talk about when we talk about these areas, is we have to take a look at everything that's there and the data and corroborate the data, corroborate it. See, Ernst and UK earn about the same as the average worker. So this is what United States remuneration, right? 0 equals parity. 0 equals parity. So in the UK, if you have a 0 here, you're making about the same as the average worker. United States makes more than the average worker. I mean, you can ask a nurse; they'll probably tell you no way, but for the amount of work that they do. But this is literally just numerics is what's going on there. So doctor salaries in the UK, yeah, fallen in real terms. So here's the United Kingdom here, and where's the United States? The only United States here. United Kingdom, Germany. No, that's just okay. That's just the United States on this. So this is just European areas. No, that's what they have there. So I mean, this is a very good report. I really highly urge people to take a look at it, and to try to ascertain a worldview based on this, because I think that's very important. And the data aspect is very important. So this is what we were talking about. UK. You can see Netherlands is right across from that area. So everyone thinks the Netherlands is like up here somewhere. No, Netherlands is right here. So that's what we have. So this is really something that you need to take a look at from a worldview, also from a data perspective, and look at these things and try to figure out exactly what's going on. The other day, I did a program on UNESCO, both data show and worldview. And in UNESCO, we talked about Brazil. They just had in Paris. They just had the climate a climate meeting where they talked about money aspects and how much money they're going to get to there. Brazil, Lula da Silva was all upset about the fact that Brazil was not getting their fair share of the money that has been promised by other countries, richer countries, to more developing countries about climate aspects and remuneration about that. So, anyways, that's piece of that history going on. Also, we also know about the situation in Ukraine and the Ukrainian aspect about the Wagner Group. A couple things. First of all, the Wagner Group, whatever we're going to call them, is located a lot in Africa. They are located in Mali. And those people don't know where there's Mali right there. Mali is very rich in natural resources. The Wagner Group is helping to provide security in Mali. The next in the other areas in the Central African Republic, literally in the city of Kuki, they have Wagner Group is located, and they're providing security for gold mines, the different areas, and of course, it's probably going to Russia. So there's a lot of areas that they're involved in, and and they do it a lot for Russia. So it'll be interesting to see how all that turns out. So that about does it for both Data Show and the Worldview. Appreciate you very much tuning in. A lot of these shows are going to be combined because it's about the application of data from a world perspective, and I think that's the way this program is going to start turning. Is we talk about data, we talk about different aspects, but what is the application of data when it comes down to the ability for you to apply it on a world basis, right? So that's what's really important. So on that note, I will bid you goodbye until the next time. And this is the Data Show or the Worldview, both hosted by Chris Greco. Wishing you to please also enhance your vision, enhance your perspective, to take into consideration more than just a United States view of something, to understand how and what we do is going to influence the world and those countries that are around us, whether they're right next door to us or whether they're across the ocean. Take care. Have a great week.